I'm Christian Abbott.
I'm Nathan Lavender.
I'm Sean Abbott. And this is the Red Mist Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Red Mist Podcast, Season 3, Episode 33. The Datsun 280ZX IMSA GTO car, Bob Sharp Racing. Twin-turbo Nissan. 1979, 1980, 1981 Camel GT Series. The heyday of Group 5 Porsche 935s. Driven by Sam Posey and one Paul Newman.
Yep.
Very sexy, very big car, super fast. So kind of cool.
Indeed.
Ran against the Porsche 935s, BMW M1s, and then towards the end there, the Lola T600s, which started the era of IMSA GTP racing. So there you go. History lesson for all you youngsters out there. Look it up. Fascinating car. Used to belch flame a mile. It was awesome. Anyways, all right. On tonight's episode, we'll talk NASCAR Daytona. Was that that wasn't the cutoff race, was it?
No, there's one more race.
Is it the next one?
Yeah, I think it's
Darlington.
Darlington, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the Cookout Southern 500. Oh, I ruined it. All right, we don't have to cover that when we get to NASCAR. We'll talk IndyCar, Portland, the Rose City. Prize pole winner for that race.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Not so much surprise winner though.
No.
A good.
No.
Was that one of our chosen winners though?
Checking.
We were checking.
No.
Oh.
Nope.
That's too bad.
I had one of the team's drivers, but not the correct one.
All right. Okay. We will talk WeatherTech GTD Pro Racing at VIR. And then we will talk about F1 at Zandvoort. And not such an exciting race, regardless of who you were rooting for. It just was not an exciting race.
Yeah,
it lacked the excitement of last year. We need rain at Zandvoort.
I know.
Good weather, I don't think you would have had a good race. I mean, we had good weather, so I don't think we would have had a good race. Bad weather, though, we have a good race. Throws in an extra element.
You don't need bad weather all the time because then you get no race.
Right, but on Zandvoort, I think you get a race.
Yeah, but you definitely need like just enough time, like a 5-minute shower where it's like, okay, maybe stay out, maybe not.
Gotcha.
You know,
maybe no. Okay. So we had a second time winner this year.
Yes.
For F1.
Yep.
Okay. It was good. That was good.
Yep.
And we'll get to that. And then we'll have some news and notes, and we'll look ahead to Monza, the Temple of Speed.
Yes, Ferrari's backyard.
Well, like I said, Temple of Speed.
Yeah.
And then we will look to IndyCar doubleheader at Milwaukee, and then we already discussed it. The Cookout Southern 500. That's a good NASCAR sponsored race name.
Mm-hmm.
That's this weekend at Darlington. The Lady in Black, track too tough to tame, as they say. So, and that's the cutoff race, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I think that's different from last year.
Yeah, and then they started at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow. I just remember Daytona being the cutoff race last year.
I don't know. It's whatever. Anyways.
It's entertaining, that's all.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, NASCAR lived up to its billing 4 weeks in a row now.
Yep.
Had a overtime race, so that's pretty cool. All right, so let's start with NASCAR. We had a first-time winner albeit a legit and no controversy first-time winner. Harrison Burton takes the win in overtime. As we had, it was a crash fest. This was typical demolition derby, super speedway style. So, yeah, I can't tell you how many cars probably got wrecked and how many cars went in the air. So it was fantastic. I mean, if you like that stuff and if you think that's racing, then go right ahead. Thankfully, we have overtime and everyone kept their head on. But Harrison Burton took the win, passing Kyle Busch with a lap to go and held on for the win. So There we go. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about it. The rest of it, it was typical NASCAR at Crash Fest. So, anyways, hey, so get through the first part of the race okay, but after that, it just.
Do we know where Harrison was in the points prior to that win?
He was down in Austin Dillon country.
Oh man.
I don't think that far down, but he's in. But he didn't wreck anybody, so he's in.
Yeah,
he's in. A lot, and this it tells you, based on some of the names that were up in the top 10. I'm not gonna say guys didn't deserve to be there but the number of crashes just took out the number of quality cars. Mm-hmm. I still trying to figure out how Darrell Wallace survived, because he was involved. Like, he got caught up in every wreck somehow. Like, not enough to get his car totally damaged, but he got caught up in it. Like, he was close to getting totaled out of it.
Yeah.
Bad Brad. Once again, I kind of wish Nate was here, but Bad Brad ran afoul of the rules. As the second place starter, as the second place starter on one of the restarts, Brad decided to leave first in the in the go zone, and that's a no, and he was summoned to the pits.
It wasn't like he was first and chose the lane that he was in.
No, he was second, and Cindric chose the lane. Cindric did what he's supposed to do, which was he can start at any time in the box, but Brad decided to go before that. So, see you later. Go to the back, and he fought his way back to 8th. So, good for him.
All right.
Cody Ware, out of nowhere. Haha. With a 4th place finish. Imagine if he won. But I have a question on that, because I don't know if he's a full-time entrant or a runner. So, he would have been in Van Gisbergen country. And Shane was running well, and then he killed every friggin' mosquito in the place as his engine detonated on the back straight. It was classic. It went up big. It was just a big puff of white smoke. And it was. We did elect a new pope with it, but he killed every bug on the back straight.
I mean, that sounds very similar to what happened in VIR too this weekend.
Yep. And then we had Daniel Suarez, who went up in flames. Safely got back to the pits, and they were able to get the car put out. But unfortunately, they had to retire the car. So that's kind of all I got for that race. I mean, congrats to Harrison. It really came down to the overtime. Everything else in between was, like I said, just a crash fest. So we also had the debut of Lee Diffie, and I just immediately was like, this is why I couldn't watch IndyCar.
Well, all you got to do is just watch the last couple laps. And
the hyperbole and the over the top, just everything, and the screaming and yelling is just got to stop. Just call the race.
But it seems like he fits in well over there.
Yeah, he does. But all the Diffie, all the Diffie fans were, oh, this is wonderful, and I was like, yeah, okay, don't miss him. Anyways, so don't miss him in Formula One. Don't miss him in IndyCar now. And oh God, I'm hoping I have a feeling he's going to be around for IMSA next year, but I'm hoping he's not. Can they just give Kevin Lee that job? That'd be one great thing.
I was gonna say, between Kevin Lee and Matt Yoakum, they did a pretty good job over at VIR. So
yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
and then Phil does really good at on the Lamborghini and the Michelin Pilot stuff when he calls that with Calvin
Mm-hmm.
and that. So, but anyways, so I digress. But anyways, more people get more Lee Diffie this weekend coming up. All right, let's move to IndyCar, to the Rose City. I'm at this point. I'm not going to talk points with NASCAR because the only thing that changed was Harrison's in.
Yeah.
So, congrats to him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, NASCAR. All right, IndyCar.
IndyCar.
We had a surprise qualifier on pole.
Yeah. I mean, well,
I didn't know what to make of it because at first I thought I was on a joke or
you thought you were getting punked?
parody IndyCar Twitter site.
Yeah.
But then I went to a legit site and it was like, oh my god, he actually did qualify on pole.
Yeah.
So congrats to Santino Ferrucci and AJ Foy Racing.
Mm-hmm.
Take the pole. Unfortunately, could not turn that into a plus.
Yeah, I think it lasted all about 100 yards.
100 yards, and then he was immediately shuffled back. Although at the end of the race, on race day, he finished 8th. So he continues the strong top 10 finishes. So good for him there.
Mm-hmm.
As for the race itself, the Will Power from Toowoomba in Australia. That's my Lee Diffie mention there. Will Power with the win and a strong run through the field.
Mm-hmm.
Did face some late pressure from Alex Palou. Again, a Diffie thing. And finished second with Joseph Newgarden rebounding to third. Colton fourth and he had a hybrid problem. So congrats to him for that. Marcus Armstrong, fantastic 5th place. Ericsson, McLaughlin, Santino, Graham Rahal into the top 10, and Kyle Kirkwood. Scott Dixon, not so good. Finished last.
No. I mean,
no bueno there.
The race was pretty.
Hello.
Sorry, the race was pretty boring. I'll say just
outside of
lap one.
Lap one. I know. Yeah.
I mean, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine to have a race like that once in a while. But it was one very long green flag run, which was very nice. Yep. But it was just Power and Palou that pretty much dominated the field. Newgarden was there, but I mean, between the top 3, it was 23 seconds between from Power to Newgarden, and then if once you go to Colton and from Colton another 23 seconds back, that separated 4th to 16th. So I mean, it just shows that the top 3 were just kind of in a league of their own, and even more so, Will Power. So yeah. As far as the Dixon incident goes, I feel like everyone could have done better in that situation. Fittipaldi was definitely not in the right spot, and hearing Hinchcliffe and Townsbell discuss it, I think I need to side with Townsend on the fact that you put the blame on Fittipaldi. However, Dixon could have also been a little bit further to the left. In that instance, Kirkwood definitely ran Dixon off the track. And then after that point, like Dixon, you gotta collect it and keep it on track and move on. It's just unfortunate, I guess, how it ended too, where you just get punted into the wall.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
But I mean, after that, like, I mean, you almost don't, if you're going to be on the Hinchcliffe side of how it was, where it wasn't necessary necessarily Fittipaldi's fault. How the race went moving forward for him wasn't great and didn't really stand uh, well for that comment. Um, or it didn't age well because Fittipaldi ended up having like 2 more drive-through penalties, so his day was down the drain pretty fast. The only other odd moment of the race was Grosjean.
It was evil Grosjean.
Yeah, that was. I mean, he goes into one and just is slightly offline where he gets the rear tire to basically hook on the inside curb, and he loses control of it.
Right.
Gets out of the way, fine, but how he rejoins was really just lack of awareness. And I would say kind of unacceptable in the fact of like you got out of the way, did all that, fine, no problem, but then you come and rejoin and you cut literally right across the racing line. Don't even look, and then he ends up ruining not only his race even more, but also Christian Rasmussen's race.
Right.
Grosjean ended up with a cut down left rear tire, and Rasmussen had a broken front wing that he had to come in and change. So outside of that, dominant performance by Power, and Palou doing everything he needs to just to lock up the championship.
That's exactly it.
So
exactly it.
Alex now has a 54-point lead, I think it is.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Going into,
I'm looking at Milwaukee doubleheader this weekend.
Yep. And
so this is going to be make or break for him this weekend.
Palou.
Because I think if he comes out with top 5 finishes in both races, I would say he's got the championship.
Yeah, I mean, even I should just take a screenshot of these points and just put them on the note sheet that I have.
Okay.
Because I feel like every time I go, lately I've looked at these at the IndyCar stuff. I'm always looking at the point system because it's just not. It's different to what F1 is, like, which is fine. Like it's fine. So a win is 50 points, but you also get a bonus point for pole. You get a bonus point for leading at least one lap, and then you get another additional 2 points for leading the most laps. So he is one perfect weekend ahead of the field, or at
Palou is right.
Yeah, Palou is ahead of Power.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, even if he finishes 10th, it's 30 points difference between first and 10th. So,
gotcha.
I mean, like Power has to win. Like that. That's the other thing too. And the other question is, what's Penske's MO going to be? Going forward with these last 3 races, because I mean, McLaughlin is 4th in points, and you'll probably want to get him ahead of Herta in the championship, just for the sake of it, which is fine. And Newgarden could probably get up to 6th.
Newgarden would, if he wins out, could get up there.
I don't think for Newgarden to win the championship, he needs Palou to basically have 3 bad races, and I don't think that's going to happen for Palou, just because the car has not been crap at any track. I mean, like it's at least in the top 10. So just from that standpoint, like anything, I mean, really, Power and Herta are the only 2 that really have a shot. at beating Palou. And that's just in the fact of like you assume that Palou is going to finish outside the top 10. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I mean, it's definitely Palou's championship to lose at this point. Unfortunately, with that DNF from Scott, that really puts him out of the points because he was still looking in a similar fashion of Power and Herta if he had finished the race on from a points point of view. But yeah, two races at Milwaukee, so I mean basically a double points weekend, and I guess we'll see how it goes and if luck falls one way or the other.
There we go. All right. So off we go to Milwaukee. I'm excited for this weekend. So
yeah, me too.
Looking forward to this. So.
I'm looking forward to the doubleheader and the finale at
final.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be. I mean, Nashville. I'm hoping is a good race too.
Yeah, I just don't want any crash fests.
No,
I just want some good hard racing. You know. So, all right, we'll see how that goes. All right, let's go to WeatherTech. Congrats to Paul Miller Racing with a GTD Pro. Well, overall / GTD Pro win. Christian's favorite thing. Fortunately, within the top 5, top 4 at least, we had the pro cars. And congratulations to Multimatic and Ford for finishing 2nd and 4th. So it seems to be that VIR was a Mustang track.
Yeah, that.
And then we had Ross Gunn and Alex Rivera's in 3rd.
Yep. Yeah, the Mustangs had a really strong outing. Didn't win the race, obviously. However, that aside, they were definitely the class of the field. And even the Corvettes were having some. They had pace,
some problems.
They had pace, but during the race definitely had problems. But they were also alluding to that they basically needed the perfect race to go, or they needed a perfect race from them, and then probably some mistakes from the Mustang guys.
Gotcha. Yeah, and even the AO Porsche, was it running Rock? It was running as Roxy this weekend.
Yeah,
that had issues too. And then the cars that are really kind of starting to I'm starting to wonder about are what's going on with the Lexuses.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is some correction for the earlier part of the year.
Something to do with BOP.
Yeah,
all right.
I should probably do my due diligence and look at.
All right. I just kind of noticed that they just haven't been. Yeah, they just haven't been there, And usually they're the reliable ones. They're always. I mean, the Corvettes. It's a mixed bag with the vets. Some races they're there and they dominate. Other races, it's like this weekend. It's not there out to lunch. It's just the car's not there. And then, but the Lexus just has been lately. So, kind of curious to see what's going on with them. Hopefully, get a rebound at Indy. There was a lot of testing going on there, which is coming up in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah,
no, it's 24 to 26 days away. I just know that because I texted you guys about 25 days earlier.
It's
the same weekend.
It's the 22nd.
Same weekend.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah, it is. So, so that'll be fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to that race because it's a proper endurance race. I think the Indy track lends itself to a good race. I think with all the cars out there, both GTP, LMP2, I believe is running, and the GTD cars, I think we're going to have a great. I think it's going to be good. We'll be working through the field, overtakes, everything like that. So looking forward to that race.
Yeah, I don't know what the I guess the only question that's always going into any weekend is what the weather's going to be like.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, I think it'll have a
So,
good showing
but we're
regardless. But
3 weeks out from that, so
yeah, yeah. We don't have to
um,
worry about that now.
yeah. So actually, so like points update on this is mute because it does not impact the GTP field.
Right.
So we will go there. It was a full slate down at WeatherTech. They did at the two Mazda races and the Michelin Pilot Cup race. I did not see any of that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I should say this in news and notes. Let's talk. Did we have to talk F1 or did we? No, we have to talk F1.
We haven't talked F1 yet. We can go
F1. All right. So let's talk F1, and we'll come back to news and notes because there was a couple IMSA things about news and notes.
There was NASCAR
F1
news today too.
Oh yeah, NASCAR news. There was F1 news.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
yeah, that's right.
all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so F1 in Zandvoort. Welcome back from the break. We started in a mixed bag of conditions: rain, sun, rain throughout. Did not. We didn't get rain in qualifying.
No. Nope.
Which it looked threatening, but we didn't get it. So we had a well done to Lando. I think he was. I would say he was pretty much the class of the field all weekend. So that's just my opinion. I mean, I like the first two sessions, but Lando was in and about. So I mean, it wasn't. He didn't do the Max where he swept the weekend and that, but Max was doing everything he could to make the Red Bull work. And they've gone back to, I think, some of the stuff they ran at Bahrain, and they're going to work forward on the car to see where they can find the sweet spot again.
Yeah,
which is interesting. He was, Lando was first, Max was second, so well done there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Lewis was. Throughout the sessions, I thought Lewis was going to be better, and then it fell apart in qualifying.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but I mean, ultimately he had a good recovery in the race.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
No, I mean, obviously he did, but it's just it's unfortunate, So, the race started off, Max with a bold charge.
Well, the race started with Lando having another
slow start.
Slow start. Yeah.
That's a great point because in kind of going through some stuff for the podcast, it's been noted that both McLarens have been susceptible to slow starts. Even on this race, Piastri was slow from his getaway.
Yeah.
So they're starting to think for them to really not get too much in danger, they got to really figure out what they're doing on their starts. I know Max had an issue like a year or two ago where he was kind of slow on the start. So obviously it's finding what they call finding the bite, the clutch bite, So, but yeah, they gotta get that figured out because it could be one race where they get swamped, and and you fall back like 6-7 places. I know it's extreme, but it could make the difference,
Yeah, and
from going to win and not. So
Zandvoort was definitely one of the better tracks to have a bad start at because it's just a short run in there. So that was the only saving thing. It was interesting after the fact, or I shouldn't even say after the fact. As I was watching them line up, I was like, all right, this will be interesting to see how it goes because Max is on the dirtier side of the track. So I didn't think he was going to get as good of a start that he did, but he did. So props to him. But how the race unfolded after the start, the headline was pretty much does Lando need to really worry about his starts.
Yep.
With the progress that they're making with that car.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough to tell because the McLaren is strong, but the question is how strong is it going to be moving forward?
Right.
Because I mean, it's not like they've been, even though they've definitely been the second best team on pace. Uh, they haven't been winning all the races, so there's still quite a bit of a mixed bag of winners. So we'll just have to see if they can keep it up or if they start to falter in some forms.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as far as the rest of the race goes, odd strategy calls by Mercedes. I really I felt like I just turned around and George just dropped.
Yeah.
From where he started, and that just seemed odd. McLaren were playing games with Piastri trying to get around Leclerc. I mean, granted, Leclerc got a great start. Actually, you know who got a great start was Gasly.
Yes. Yep. Nope. Definitely agree with you there.
He made some great moves around the outside into turn one. That definitely paid off. And then, but as they've done well in the past couple of years, Aston Martin was top of the midfield in this race too. They had a really good showing. One other note from qualifying was that Albon got disqualified. He qualified 8th, but then got DQ'd from. It looks like it was a ride height issue of how low the floor was, or at least some issue with the floor. It didn't clear post tech in that, so he had to start from the back of the field. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing to see him just get taken out of the race or from a top 10 result and potentially score points that way. But I know the result still is. Where did he finish? I do want to bring up Perez because although it wasn't a stellar top 5 finish, he did qualify well, and he finished 6th in the race. So he's not miles off everyone else, which was good to see. And but he's definitely still getting outpaced by Verstappen. Although, I mean, I say that, but Perez finished closer to Verstappen than Verstappen finished to Norris.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, in terms of the Constructors' Championship, yeah, Red Bull got outscored by McLaren. However, it was not just Max versus the McLarens. Perez did put some points together for this weekend, so hopefully that's something they can work and build off of and keep that championship battle alive and a good fight towards the end.
All right.
I guess the one last notable was Hulkenberg almost got points, just to be picked off by Alonso with the way Gasly got. I'm sorry, I misspoke about the Aston Martins. Yes, they were both quick. However, Gasly with his start got himself into 9th, so good points for him in Alpine, and Alonso rounded out the top 10.
Where did Sergio?
Sergio finished 6th.
6th, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It went Norris, Verstappen, and Leclerc on your podium. Piastri was 4th, Sainz 5th, Perez 6th, and then your Mercedes, Russell and Hamilton 7th and 8th, Gasly 9th, Alonso 10th.
Okay. All right. Now just Swinging over to the points, we have Max still leading by 70 over Lando and 103 over Charles. And then Oscar is 13 behind Charles, with Carlos 7 behind. Lewis 18 behind Carlos, with Sergio another 15 behind Hamilton. Russell 17 behind, and then a huge drop off down to Alonso and Stroll, both with 50 and 24 points respectively. Hulkenberg at 22 could overtake Stroll for the top 10. Now that would be a milestone, I think, personally.
Yeah, if it's Hulkenberg that does it, that would be really impressive. I mean, although Tsunoda is tied with Hulkenberg on points, so I mean they're both capable of doing that.
The interesting side, obviously, is the constructors, and this is obviously due to the collapse of Sergio Perez. I am laying the blame solely at his feet. We now have a 30-point difference between McLaren and Red Bull, with Red Bull essentially running one car against everyone else running two.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the only other battle really is down in 6th and 7th. Haas against RB by RB holding 6 down with a 7-point lead.
Mm.
And right now it just seems like it's Hulkenberg versus Tsunoda. That seems what that is.
Yes and no. I mean, both of those drivers, have the bulk of the points, but they got the bulk of the points towards the earlier part of the season, and now it's like Ricciardo has definitely been on par, if not a little bit better than Tsunoda, but neither car is getting points. And then Haas, it's the last couple of races, it seems like it's kind of flip flop between who's been the higher finishing car. But again, they're just not getting points. Like the where is it? Oh, come on, give me Wikipedia. Who says people don't use Wikipedia for their news sources? Where is it? Okay. So, like, Tsunoda and Ricciardo have been either 9th or 10th in the points since Austria. And then neither one made the points this race. In the Netherlands. And then K-Mag and Hulkenberg, they've gone a little bit back and forth, but Hulkenberg seems to have the edge on K-Mag. But it's there's some races where it's not like K-Mag is miles off of him. I mean, like there's some races where like Hulkenberg finishes 11th and Magnussen is just right behind him at 12th or 13th, and then but then there's other races where like this past weekend where Hulkenberg finished 11th and Magnussen finished 18th. But the week before the summer break at Spa, K-Mag had the better of Hulkenberg, where K-Mag finished 14th and Hulkenberg finished 18th. So they're just not scoring points right now, and the Alpines and mainly the Aston Martins are the two teams finishing in the points of late. Just where like it's just a I guess constant revolving door of who's getting points, and no one really down in the midfield is able to really break in because none of the other top teams are having problems.
Gotcha. All right.
So.
All right. Okay, so on to Monza.
Yes.
All right. Moving over to news and notes. Let's start in sports car. So we talked about the Azzato Francini program getting axed last week.
Did we?
From WEC. Yeah, I thought we did. Well, if we didn't, so the car maker Azzato has decided to withdraw from the rest of the races. Today, news broke via Sports Car 365 in an interview with the folks at I just lost it. Sorry. The folks at Michelotto, who designed the car, and also worked exclusively with Ferrari. They are saying that they expect the chassis and the cars to be back on track next year, with a new partner replacing Duquesne Engineering to run the team. So that story, it's starting to sound like Van Wall, and the Van Wall keeps popping up on my social media feeds. So we shall see. I'd like to see him back. I still think it's good.
Yeah.
But I get it. But anyway, so hopefully they'll be back. United Autosports confirmed they will return to LMP2 and IMSA with 2 cars, so that's good news. In WEC racing this weekend, so with Azzato out, we're just down a car there. But that race will be fun this weekend, I think. Looking forward to that.
Yes.
The other interesting note from the weekend there is Frankie Muniz, Malcolm in the Middle, will be making a sports car debut in the Mustang Dark Horse Series this weekend.
All right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's actually in the Mustang Challenge Series. So he's been doing some Xfinity, some Craftsman truck, and some ARCA racing.
Mm-hmm.
So good for him there.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. All right. Just double checking. We had checking. And there was one other thing I wanted to bring up, but I don't know where. Oh, this is what it was. So after VIR, a bunch of the Mazda MX-5 went to Martinsville.
Yeah.
And tested.
Well, yeah, they're going to be racing there in October.
Right. Well, I'm telling our listeners that that we had an open test there. So we had 2 hours in the afternoon and 2 hours at night. So that was pretty cool.
There we go.
Video showed some really good stuff. So hopefully that works out. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. As long as it's not a crash fest, I'll be fine.
No. Although, speaking of MX-5s, I need to go back and watch it, but more so the Saturday race, because I heard the guy who won his first MX-5 race did it in basically a last to first challenge, where he got, I think he got punted off on the first lap.
Ended up dead last.
Yeah, ended up dead last.
And moved all the way to first.
Yeah. And
do we know race 1 or race 2?
I know it was race 1.
All right, I will go back and look at that.
But
this sounds fantastic.
The interesting thing was that he didn't get. No one made a move on him for the last 3 laps. Like, he was just out in front, and nobody, like, they basically just
they couldn't get to him.
No, they just waited and didn't make the move.
What were they doing?
I don't know. They just didn't do it.
Did they think like he was a lap down?
I have no idea.
All right, I gotta watch this. All right.
But yeah. If anything, that's one race to watch.
I will go find out and watch that.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have on the sports car front.
Yeah. Just to reiterate, WEC is this weekend at
yes,
COTA.
At COTA.
Great stuff.
So that'll be should be fun. NASCAR news. We're heading south of the border.
Yes.
The event will be at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez road course. It will feature Xfinity Series and NASCAR Mexico Series.
I mean,
So,
I don't think they're going to lose out at all with a race like this.
no,
I think it'll
but
be good.
Just knowing from Formula One and how braking is such a issue at that track, I'm curious to see what a stock car is going to handle like. So that should be entertaining at turn 1 there.
Yeah, especially at the altitude it is.
So the good thing is, at least Checo will be able to race in front of his home fans next year.
That's an interesting name for Suarez. No.
no, Checo Perez.
I know.
Yes, yeah. No, I expect Daniel Suarez will outrace Checo in the NASCAR race.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps could be the weekend that we have the vaunted. If our good friends at Trackhouse would be willing to bring back Project 91, they could put one Max Verstappen in the car. And he could take on Kyle Larson, and we could have the race of champions.
Good, yeah.
I'm all for that because honestly, I think people are giving Larson crap for saying it, but in all honesty, he's probably the best driver on the planet right now. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the hottest road course guy right now in NASCAR.
No. But overall,
he's one of the few that has actually gone and done different things.
Like things. And he's multidisciplined, as they say.
Yeah, and he's had. If he hasn't won, he has had good success and good finishes.
And what I don't want to hear is people going, "Well, Max doesn't want to run the ovals." You know what? Max was brought up not running ovals, so I understand his reluctance to race the ovals. I have no problem with that. That simple as that. I mean, they could, if they went in go-karts, I guarantee you Max would clean his clock.
Right.
Okay. If they went in sprint cars, Larson's going to clean his clock.
Mm-hmm.
On a road course in some type of car, I don't know, whether it's a sports car or something. I think it'd be a lot closer than anyone thinks.
Yeah.
So, kind of looking forward to like if that ever happens. So, anyways, I do like that banter. I like that. Yeah, it goes back to like the 60s and 70s. When you had the Europeans thinking they were the best, and we had the Americans doing all sorts of racing here. So you had Mario doing dirt, IndyCar, NASCAR, sports cars. I mean, so that's what Larson's doing.
Yeah.
So he has won the Daytona 24 Hours. So
he has.
Yeah. Well, then again, R.J. Valentine has too.
Oh man.
All right. Anyways, on that note, let's shift to Formula One and Logan Sargent. The axe has fallen, thankfully, after this monumental crash at Zandvoort, which I have no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, it stinks. But
it stinks, but the reality is he's been on a lifeline all year.
Right.
And he's had wrecks. He's basically done it to himself.
Yeah. Because in contrast, I think and it's not great. Well, he is not last place in points, which is the shocking thing. However, I do think Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu. I think he's arguably had a worse performance here.
Yes.
Than Sargent.
He has gone significantly backwards since he came into Formula One.
Yes. However, he has had one 11th place finish earlier on in the season that is keeping him ahead of both Sargent and his teammate Bottas.
Right. Now,
although when you look at like the qualifying gap between teammates, Joe is so far off
Yeah,
Bottas in comparison to
yeah,
everyone else and where they are.
right.
Like Joe is worse than
Yeah,
Perez is to Verstappen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when you just
Which is shocking.
when you just look at something like that, like it's kind of alarming. And then I
Yeah.
mean, again, like the last 5 races, Bottas has beaten him,
Hmm.
and Joe has effectively been like the last running car on the grid, just
Yeah.
about.
Gotcha.
Um, so it's not great. And then I mean I don't know. I to somewhat counter it, he's been kind of like in the middle field of like 13th to 15th from um, from Australia to Canada. So I mean, it's not like it's awful, but I mean he doesn't have really anything to show for it, and unfortunately, I unless he's got some more money tucked away, I don't really see him on the grid next year. Uh,
Where's he going to go?
well, and that's just it. Like there's one,
He's not going anywhere. He's done.
yeah. I mean, there's a seat open at Audi. I
Yeah,
there's
but that's going that's they're not going to give it to somebody Logan Sargent. That's for certain. Doesn't I don't care
no
how much money he brings. He's
no yeah
oh, all right. Now,
yeah
if they're going to give it to anybody that's still in the field, they go, okay, they're going to give it to Joe. But what about Botas? But we don't know because now, you know. Anyways, so it's supposed to be an announcement this weekend that Kimi Antonelli will be taking over the Mercedes seat. I'm like, okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how long that kid's going to be there because I don't. He does nothing for me.
yeah.
You know.
Um,
I mean, I honestly, he's another Logan Sargent. That's how I look at it.
I mean,
Now,
time will always tell, but
so yeah,
I mean he's not had the success that Piastri has had. Um,
yeah,
just
exactly. Or Jurgovic or Teo or
mhm,
Yuri Vips. I mean, yeah, there's a host of drivers ahead of him. I mean,
yeah.
you know, uh, this is Toto. He's looking for the next Verstappen. Now, this kid could be there. I mean, let's put it this way: George is only there through next year,
Yeah.
and then if Max decides I'm out, Max is going to there. Now, I don't know how long they'll probably go 2 or 3 years with this kid. If he shows anything, fine. If he doesn't, then he's out.
Hmm.
You know, um, I don't really know if I don't know if they have a game plan. I think this Lewis thing really took him off guard. That's the whole thing. You know,
Yeah.
so so now with Logan getting the boot, this definitely opens the door because the, Williams came calling on Lawson, and they were told, nope, there could be a driver change coming at either Red Bull or um, whatever they are, Toro Rosso, whatever
Hmm.
you want to call them. So there seems to be something coming. So I have to think. My thought is, I think Checo's out after Mexico.
Because
Uh,
Lawson didn't get put into the Williams seat.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I think VCA. I think Red Bull Junior. They're going to run it out to the end of the season, and go from there. Yuki will probably stay on. Is Yuki on for one more year?
Uh, y- yes. Yeah.
Yes, because of the Honda contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not. It's not Honda, but it is Honda. But anyway, so Yuki's on for one more year. I
Right.
I have to think that I think Ricardo could be gone at the end of the season too. So what you're going to see is one of two things happen. They put Yuki up with Max to solidify the number one team, and they put the two young guns at VCAB, VCARB, whatever they are. Toro Rosso. They put Drugovich and Lawson there, or Lawson stays and Drugovich is there with Yuki. So that's kind of where it's at. So I think my feeling is Perez gone after Mexico, and I think Danny's gone after the end of the season.
I'm sorry, where does Drugovich fit in?
If Danny Rick goes, he goes to Toro Rosso.
Because you think Perez is gone next.
Perez is gone after Mexico. He's gone after Mexico. They're not going to put up with this with the points. They're not putting up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, if Carlos Slim and the FIA didn't intervene like they did, or Liberty, about the concern about if he's gone, there's no Mexican driver.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. But I guarantee you that he's getting black. If the pace of performance continues the same way and it continues at Mexico, he's gone. They can't afford to have him in the seat. They can't even afford to have him in the seat right now.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be better off with Yuki in that seat, personally. That's just my opinion, and they should have Yuki in that seat. They get a better effort out of it, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Danny Rick's gone at the end of the year too. He hasn't done anything. And it's like you can't keep holding on to guys.
Yeah.
So he's gone. So now Franco Pinto, Argentinian.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting fact with Franco, he is a protege of one Fernando Alonso.
Ooh.
So interesting there. Yep. Now the sad thing is, this is just to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So where's that put him? Going forward. He's going to get into that dumpster fire of Formula F2 drivers. So hopefully he shows well. He does a Berman, for a couple races, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's got 9 races.
Yeah, he's got 9 races to show us what he's got, and the problem is, Williams has already got brought in somebody. So the question is, where does this kid go? Is this also like maybe they're not going to sign Kimi, and this kid's they want to look at him for a Mercedes ride? Who knows?
Yeah, ultimately.
Look, Toto can't have buyer's remorse right now because he's got to get someone in that seat. He definitely was hoping. I think he was hoping Max would go, and Max didn't. And I think then he was hoping that Carlos was going to go, but Carlos. I think Carlos's fear was, okay, fine, they sign Russell again, and then they take Max and he gets dumped. That's probably why Carlos didn't decide to go.
Yeah. I guess the interesting point is just who's getting dropped for next year. I think Magnussen's gone. I think
Magnussen's out, Joe's out.
Sargent's out.
Sargent's out, obviously. Calipino's going to be out, unless he goes and takes the other seat at, whatever. No one knows what's going on at whatever they are, Audi.
Yeah. Bottas is I think the best of that group that you have, and it's probably just a question of if he's going to continue or not with them.
Right. If I was Mercedes, I would take Bottas. But
bring him back.
Because I really don't think Antonelli's anywhere. He's not Max ready. That's for sure. And Max, they had the benefit of going to Toro Rosso first before going up to the big team. Okay, This kid's they're dropping him into the Mercedes now. He's been awesome in the test car and stuff. Yeah, okay, fine. But overall, he hasn't really been outperformed in some of these races. So that's just I'm not slacking the kid, but I don't see him as the wonder kid that Max was. And I think there's guys in Formula 2 that are a little more deserving. Or I think Bottas is a safer bet. And you go 1 year with Bottas, see what happens. And then if Max comes over, Max comes over.
Yeah.
Max isn't going anywhere because the whole car change is 2026. So you're better off just staying where you are, see if it's crap, and then just move on after that. That's what you do. And Sergio, my feeling is
Max could also just get up and quit whenever he wants.
He's got. Look, Max is his own thing, and you're 100% right. And he may say, "I'm going to go do sports car racing."
Right. So I mean, that's the only outside wild card at this point. Like, I mean, if anyone else
he's not going to pull a Mansell and go to IndyCar. Because he doesn't want to do the ovals, and I 100% agree. The ovals are now, I think, about, as Nate said, I think 50% of the, or close to 50% of the schedule. So it's a discipline that Max has never been exposed to. So why would Max want to do it?
Well,
I mean, some people adapt to it, like Grosjean. He's adapted quite well, but if that's not Max's cup of tea, he's being honest.
Yeah, if he's not interested in it, he's not interested in it. And
right.
So if he's going to go do something,
Fernando tried it.
Do something else. Yeah.
And he tried it at Indy. I mean, who's to say that Fernando wouldn't come back and do it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not everyone's cup of tea. Yeah. Simple as that. I love watching it, but I'd be terrified driving those things on an oval. I'd love to drive a IndyCar on a road course, but I mean, so we'll see what happens there. I think both Perez and I think Ricciardo are gone too. So, I would like to see Lawson get a shot. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. Unfortunately, to bring in a new crop of drivers, you have to get rid of some.
Yeah. Yep. And that needs to happen. Or you add more teams.
You add more cars to the grid.
That's right. Well, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Anyways,
who would want to see 30 cars on a racetrack?
Yep. The only other news that did come from NASCAR this week was that SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, is going to be full time with Trackhouse next year. So that's cool. So good on him. Looking forward to that. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think personally, outside of cars letting him down and stuff, he's acquitted himself quite well. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we get into our picks?
Yes.
For the weekend? Let's start with IndyCar.
Okay.
Captain Nate has informed us he is approaching Antwerp, Belgium.
Yes, he is.
At this time, he will be manning the ropes as the ship docks. He did post a picture of him driving the boat.
He did.
I know. I didn't know what to make of that. I was a little frightened by that. Don't go Suez Canal on us. All right, let's start with Nate.
All right, Nate has gone for power to win the first race, so he'll
power
kick off his championship hopes with a win on that first night. His dark horse for the first race is Malukas. For Sunday, Nate has gone with Dixon to win, and for his dark horse, again with Malukas.
All right. You want to go?
I can go. All
right.
Let's see. To win. I'm gonna go with Dixon on night one. No. Palou night one. and Palou, night 2.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, not night 2, day 2.
Hey, race 2.
I don't think either one of these are night races either.
I don't think they are night races.
Dark horse. Can Ferrucci be a dark horse?
I'll say yes.
Okay, I'll take Ferrucci day 1, and I'm gonna go with Lundqvist for night 2, or day 2. Day 2. God, it's not a night race. None of these races are night races.
Right. Race 1 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Scott Dixon to bounce back.
Okay.
My dark horse is going to be Rinus VeeKay.
Oh, very nice.
Race 2, I am going to go with Colton Herta to win. And I'm going to go with a dark horse of Romain Grosjean.
That's very good. Actually, you know what? I might want to switch my Ferrucci. I'm going to switch my Ferrucci to Daly.
Connor Daly.
Yeah.
I like that.
I could see that going well.
Yep.
Actually, and then I think Daly is definitely going to be my dark horse in Nashville. Okay.
All right.
And last but not least,
F1.
Formula 1.
Formula 1.
Nate, he's gone with the McLaren 1-2, with Lando winning and Oscar taking second, and he's gone for Max to finish third to round out the podium, and Albon is his dark horse.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Sir Lewis Hamilton to win, Max to finish second, Leclerc third, and Ricciardo as my dark horse.
Okay. I will start with my dark horse. That will be Alex Albon.
Okay.
My third place finisher is going to be Carlos Sainz.
King of Spain.
My second place finish will be Max Verstappen. And I am going to go for Charles Leclerc to win.
Ooh, all right. Ferrari bounces back this week.
Yes. It'll probably be Carlos wins, Max second, and Chuck third.
Yeah. It is interesting to... Oh, wait, no. Never mind. I take that point back. For some reason, I thought Ferrari was still ahead of McLaren in the points, but they're not really. Okay. But yeah, will be interesting to see.
Yeah. A lot of racing coming up. So see how it goes.
Yep. We got, so just to recap, this upcoming weekend, we got Formula 1 at Monza. WEC is at COTA on Sunday.
That's
and then
correct. Yep.
IndyCar is at Milwaukee for a doubleheader on Saturday and then Sunday. And then NASCAR is at Darlington.
That's correct.
We also have, or I also have on my notes that MotoGP is at Aragon this weekend.
Ooh.
So
I like that check.
But yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
And on that note,
good night.
Thank you guys for listening to the Red Mist Podcast, hosted by Christian Abbott, Sean Abbott, and Nathan Lavin. It's produced by Christian Abbott, and music is by Alex Wart and Harrison Tate.